Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Marshall Verli, English literature from Faculty of Language and Art, State University of Yogyakarta. Today, I would like to analyze the poetry from Marianne Moore entitled Marriage. Before we go into the analysis, let me explain to you the author of this poem. Marianne Moore. Marianne Moore was an American modernist and feminist poet, translator, critic, and writer. She is a legend of the involved of literary works by creating the marriage poetry for the longest poem she had created. Marriage itself merely not talk about married life as a whole. So I will explain the background of this poetry. So basically, marriage is the most complicated treatment by Moro of issue typically associated with the life of woman as a woman. The poem itself talks about the relationship between two partners, which represented by Adam and Eve. The reason why Moro chose Adam and Eve because Adam and Eve were strongly individual in every religion. So therefore, it could suitable with the typical of this poetry. So move on in the analysis. Marriage, the character Adam and Eve is not simply just a character who has impact. Morse put ideas of how why she chose Adam and Eve because they were strong individuals with the highest self-love. Therefore, More used the idea of institution as the scapegoat to reveal the private part of relationship as the public consume. And marriage is not always happy as a story of literary commonly. The concept of marriage that More tried to emphasize are married life not always about the happiness, also it could be more sacrifice and stress along the marriage life. Adam was portrayed by More as a strong leader who tend to be orator and leader despite Eve was just submissive and housewife. More shown the patriarchal ideology in the poem by However, this poem was trying to unmask the reality of marriage life. It digests from Moore's life that her family is not happy marriage. Her parents also not quite supporting her, considering the facts Moore give an implicit idea of sacrifice in marriage. She also gives allegory by add the iconic character like Diana to be the ideal of woman. Next, we will talk about the literary device. In the poetry, the point of view of this poetry is third-person view by the assumption that Moral as the narrator. She used the pronoun she and he to explain the situation in the poem. Next, the tone of the poem is stressful, in some dialogue also ironic. In the poem, Moral sounds that Mary's life is more complicated than it looks, because when we accompany with each other in one room or in one house, it tend to be more difficult to understand each other. Also, the atmosphere of this poetry is modern illusional of Adam and Eve before went to Earth. So it took place in Eden Garden when Eve ate an apple. Then it's become a problem when they sent to Earth because that since they made. I think that's all from my explanation. I hope you guys will understand and take advantage from this presentation. If there is any critique and add something to my presentation, feel free to give a comment below. Thank you so much. I hope you get something from this presentation.